Someone's cell phone.
Turn off my...
1 second.
We are one man.
So where are the materials so I can actually read them?
On Discord.
Yeah, in the Discord group chat. I would have recommended reading them before we started, but better late than never.
Eventually.
Yeah, because I was working last night and never had a chance to actually look at our content.
Yeah, I understand.
In other news, I just saw a post that I'm going to read the hell out of later about little Hercules and how his parents ruined his childhood.
Yeah, dude. His dad went to prison, dude. His dad was like this bodybuilder too.
Oh.
It was all into steroids and stuff like that. So don't be surprised.
I've never seen him as a kid. No, just
I was thinking of Hercules, like the Greek myth.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like,
that's
his
what I was saying.
parents
Like,
definitely ruined his life.
they
No.
kind of threw him down to earth.
This kid was like doing push-ups at like 3 years old. Like at 8, he had like a 10 pack.
wait, I mean, big deal.
you're
Hercules
talking-
strangled some
Wait, you're
snakes.
talking about like little Hercules, the when he was like 6, 7 years old, doing bodybuilding.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that years ago.
person, Paul, who's been abused.
I mean, if you can't strangle some snakes and you were just born, mess me with that weak shit.
You are not the son of God. You shall die.
I'm just the son of a bodybuilder. All right, hang on. I just gotta find our live post with everything shared.
Why am I only hearing things in my right ear? That's weird.
There might be something wrong with that headset. We should
Oh, well.
probably.
Well, as long as nobody else is hearing it, it's not really an issue on my side. So, I mean, as long as it's just an issue with the headset, it doesn't really matter. So,
I can hear you in both of mine. So
All right, I can only hear you in one ear. Nacho, can you say something to the mic?
Yeah.
Okay, I can hear you from both ears.
Do you hear me? Wait, what was that?
Oh, nothing. Our foreman just commented. Earl just tagged us in something.
Oh.
John's close. He said, "What's up?"
Hey, John.
We are paying by the hour, so let's get this moving.
No, never. Okay, there's our thing.
Excellent. We live?
We're live-ish.
I'll take live-ish.
He's literally down the street.
Yeah, John. Remember, when we're here, we're not at work. You can't hurt us here.
Yes, John. We are free from your tyranny.
For now.
Until tomorrow morning.
Then we all turn into Decepticons and fall in order.
Okay. It's been shared.
Excellent.
I'm going to play the fight song. I'm going to make sure the encoders are up.
All right, ready to go then, everybody?
Cell phone that works at high speeds.
All right, let's do this.
Uno momento.
Hablo usted inglés, hablo muy poquito español.
I don't know what he just said, but it did sound good.
I just said, do you speak English? Because I speak very little Spanish.
I speak no Spanish.
I know that phrase really well.
Oh, now my phone's messing up.
I can read Latin, but that's not terribly useful unless the
Pope
Pope wants me to
the fact
help.
that everything's just making our show a little tighter.
The new pope is a dope, man.
Yeah, he's
Dope.
a Pope on a rope.
He is a pope on a rope, man.
Dope Pope. Hashtag Dope Pope.
I mean, he's still a Pope, which means he's still part of the Catholic hierarchy, but he's doper than the last couple popes we've had.
Long live the Pope.
No, I mean, I would say he's probably the dopest pope the Catholic Church has
But is he
ever
the
had.
dopest Pope who's on the
He's
throne?
just so down to earth. He's
Comparatively.
really down to earth, which is scary because most of them, once they get to that power level, they're like, we're the closest thing to God. He's like, no, we all are. Walk with me.
All right.
Well, yeah, because he's still a
Yeah,
Catholic. so.
I saw the Pope a couple years ago. It was awesome. Would
Regardless.
recommend going to the
All right,
Vatican.
guys. Fight song, go!
Welcome, everybody, to the 3DMs podcast. We are on episode 29, and our show is off to a Turn
I hear
down.
something's happening.
We are having technological
We
issues.
are having our regular problems. I am Jake, joined as usual by Nacho and Paul. Sitting in studio with us today is returning guest producer Earl.
Thank you, guys.
It's nice having someone to read the comments for us. We appreciate it, buddy. So, we ain't got a lot this week. Turns out
Not
after,
much has happened.
Yeah, it turns out after the Stream of Many Eyes event, Wizards blew their collective wad on that. I do know that on Roleplay, something really bad, or on Critical Role, something really bad happened. Because the internet is just writing vaguely devastated tweets. But
That's worrying.
I only listened to the podcast of it, so I'm like really behind. So I'm just like, uh-oh.
Yeah,
So
my home internet is no good, so I can't actually watch it.
Yeah, so
until
I'm
go
just
back to
lazy.
school.
Well, that and I mean, we work early in the morning, and they don't start until like 10 o'clock for us. So, moving on. So, this week we got a couple of homebrew stuff we found for you. We're going to talk about a couple other fun little topics, but first, we're going to actually talk about our D&D lives. Normally we don't bring ourselves up too much on this show. We just, we play our own game on the side. We don't want to regale everybody with tales, but
I did a bad thing.
Nacho.
Horrible.
Killed a man over his frosted tips.
He killed him because he looked like Justin Bieber.
No, he looked more like Guy Fieri, honestly. But
So,
he's
context.
awaited in Flavortown.
Context. Party was dealing with some Thieves Guild shenanigans. They were walking into a trap. Paul has played with me long enough and knows my DMing style well enough that if he goes out of character, like, this is probably a trap, he's got like a 65% success rate on nailing my traps. So
Practice makes perfect.
yeah, so he ain't far off. They walked into the situation, and I described because Earl has finally just gotten after, we've been talking. He's been wanting to play D&D again since his high school days. We finally got Earl to, come play a game with the boys. Got him in the game, and he had a blast. But so to make a running joke, because I guess just a little bit of personal stuff, 3 out of the 4 men in this room have bounced professionally for some time because we're big, scary-looking dudes who happen to have hearts of gold, but we look the part, so we bounce. And so they ran into this dwarf bouncer, and I wanted him to be, A, just do every stereotypical bouncer thing humanly possible for, collective laughs because I knew my group, and B, he was just going to be the biggest Chad possible. And I was thinking as I was describing him, because I already had him with a fiery red mohawk, because, he's a dwarf fiery red mohawk. I'm like, that's good enough. And I was like, no, let's take it one step further. Frosted tips. Apparently, Nacho, this was the breaking point. Go ahead and defend yourself.
Okay, so playing the bard, I care a lot about personal appearance and whatnot, and I feel as though frosted tips are not
such an ungodly sin that they deserve death.
It is the worst fashion statement you could make, in my opinion. So
I can think of one worse. Shaved head, mullet in the back.
okay, yeah, that too.
No, that takes... See, though, that person knows that does not look good.
Yeah.
Like, they're doing it because they just don't care. They don't play by society's rules. There's the person...
It's a bad choice, but they tend to do it ironically.
There's the person...
Frosted tips, however, that is a conscious decision thinking, oh, wow, this looks really good. And it's like, no, it doesn't.
So you killed him.
So I asked around, hey, does anybody have a quarter I could flip to see if I actually went through with it? Nobody had a quarter, and Jake's like, okay, just roll a die. Evens are heads, and odds are tails. It's like, okay, heads. I rolled. Okay, sweet. I'm going to roll sleight of hand to hide my hand motions while I cast heat metal on his armor and cook him alive.
Well, that wasn't the intent, but we discovered, as a quick dive through the rules, something we should probably already have known, is that it takes a minute to take off a breastplate somehow.
Yeah, no. You think a breastplate would just,
I mean, sure,
Like-
scale mail or, chainmail I can understand taking a minute to take off, but a breastplate has like 3 clasps. You think you'd take it off instantly.
you would think, but...
It takes a minute.
Yeah. And
So,
Heat metal, 1 minute of concentration, 2d8 each round.
And that guy wasn't that tough either. I mean, you guys are pretty low level.
2d8's a lot of damage to take.
Yeah,
That is-
so
yeah,
I
that is-
cooked him alive in his armor. Nobody caught it. So I tried to roll a performance to act like, oh, I don't know what's going on.
How weird.
After I rolled, and okay, that would have been a 19. Jake's like, no, I want it to be deception because you're lying. Like, okay, sweet. Yeah, I have expertise in that. Now it's a 21.
Yeah. So you got away with that. Like, everyone is
Burn
just...
my hands too, you jerk.
You did damage
Yeah.
Paul. Because Paul is the only person in this party with a truly good heart. Some of them are undercover cops, some of them aren't, and but out of all the undercover ones, there's actually one who only cares about justice. And that's Paul's character.
And getting in stupid fights.
Yeah, that too. But I mean, you're a barbarian, though. That's like half the job
yeah, I was gonna
description.
say.
It's like getting into stupid fights and then wherever your alignment falls.
Yeah, normally I don't believe in murder hoboing. I like throwing a wrench in the DM's plans in a creative way because that's the only way I can play chess since I can't play chess.
I hate to inform you that nowadays playing chess is mostly about memorizing openings and reactions.
Yeah, well, regardless, I can't do that. So I like to do it the creative way, but Frosted Tips, that was my breaking point.
So let's talk briefly about what happens when your players decide they just want to kill someone.
We've done this before. We've done murder or hoboing, but I guess we do have a much more introspective, because Nacho,
This is retrospective.
This is remarkably out of character for you.
yeah.
He murdered hobo someone as a fucking hobo.
Oh, yeah, I was disguised as a
Yeah, that was.
hobo.
I was going to interject
Nice
earlier there
touch.
when you were so offended by his appearance, as you were currently appearing homeless yourself, as a disguise, as a clever ruse.
That was also tactical.
It was
Maybe-
actually. I'll defend that. It was a tactical choice.
Maybe his frosted tips were tactical.
No.
It's to draw aggro. You know?
Exactly, which they did their job a little.
Yeah, it drew the aggro of my heat metal spell,
Ay,
burning
ay,
one
ay.
of my two
So,
second level
Jake,
spell slots.
Why don't you tell us what what your thought process was after Nacho murdered a man over a fashion statement?
So my thought process was pretty brief and pretty simple. It was, well, there goes like 25 minutes of game content. So I need 5 minutes to just figure out what's going on because he was going to continue to accidentally, he was going to sit there and just, be a chat. He was there for laughs, and then, there was going to be the combat segment where you guys got to kill him, and it was going to be satisfying in that regard. The fact that he literally didn't get to say anything is the only thing I'm really pissed about. Because now, I can't do that character again because the next time you see a dwarf with a mohawk with,
Frosted
with
Tips,
frosted
his twin
tips.
brother.
Yeah. One of two things is going to happen. Either the entire party's going to jump on him, just get him, or 8 people are going to hold Nacho down and just, well, actually, no, because
Nobody knew what happened.
no one knew what happened. So, yeah.
It's the curse.
Yeah, so Paul's playing a barbarian.
No, I'm going to turn this on you, Nacho. Does every person in my world with frosted tips need to be afraid?
Potentially.
What if they're natural frosted tips? What if
Compulsion.
it's,
Kill
they,
people with frosted tips.
what if they work out in the sun and just, just the tips get kind of like my own hair?
No, see, because
it's gonna
Nacho
be
doesn't
hit or
care
miss.
about people getting sun bleached. Nacho cares about somebody intentionally bleaching the tips of their hair.
Yes.
So somebody with sun bleached hair is fine because that just means they've been doing a hard day's work in the field like some sort of Amish gentleman or something.
Tell me, Nacho. What else is cause for immediate execution on the grounds of you, since you are so righteous and you know right from wrong?
Don't wear white
curse.
after Labor Day.
Are socks okay?
As long as you're not wearing sandals.
Are socks with sandals also cause for death? Is there a heat plastic spell now? I hope there is. Hope somebody's made one.
I'll find a way to stick a ball bearing down your throat and heat that up.
Well,
I think you need to maintain line of sight for that one, though, so you're probably safe. But anyway. I think we've harped on this one long enough of Nacho killing a man over a fashion statement.
I felt terrible as I did it, but it was he has frosted tips.
He deserves only death.
the worst part is that I've talked to 7 different people about this, and every time it's just his only defense is he has frosted tips, and they're deserved. Can we remember some of the great people with frosted tips? Justin Timberlake.
Guy Fieri.
Justin Timberlake.
Okay, he was going through a rough patch at that point.
No, this is when he was at the peak of NSYNC fame. That wasn't a rough patch. That was making grandbabies
Yeah,
rich.
but the record labels are really mean to boy bands. So
this was the 90s. It was okay.
I mean, record labels are kind of mean to everyone except for Rolling Stones.
True.
Moving on. So this week we have dug up a couple of home brews. One is more so a pact. It's a pact for a warlock, but it's less a patron.
Making a dark bind as it is.
Well, too, also as a rule thing, like off the top, it is not a full blown patron. Like you're not getting first level, third level, all those abilities. Rather, it is.
It's one of those pact choices, like Pact of the Blade, Pact of the Tome, so on and so forth.
But it is so wholesome and so pure and so lovely that I saw it and I was just like, well,
I can't not.
We can't not talk about it. So, Paul, lead us in if you've got if you got it open.
I do not have it open, but I can give you the brief rundown.
I am pulling it open.
Nacho pulls it open.
Attaboy.
This is
the
friend patron.
Yes, I fight for my friends.
Pact of the Friend.
Pact of the Friend.
Yes, your pact is that with your friends, and your friends protect you and give you power.
Aww. It's so cute.
Know how it's supposed to work, but
it's all about being friendly, helping each other out.
No, literally,
I remember,
Nacho, I want you to read the intro a little bit because it is literally just made of sugar, spice, and everything nice. It is kindness.
Okay, and
put into word vomit.
This first part, this is not me being illiterate. This is as it's written. Your patron is the friends you make.
That's not a patron; it's a pact. But
yeah,
whatever.
But while others may bargain their souls away, you have freely given it to every person you meet. You make friends wherever you go by simply being yourself. These friends, although mortal and powerless by themselves, provide you the strength to go beyond the possible through the will of their trust in you. They look to you for support, friendship, and guidance, an unwavering soul who is also mortal and powerless themselves, who tirelessly puts forth the effort for each and every one of their friends. You will live forever on in the hearts of every heart you touch. Okay, that was weird. They will all think of you now and then, never forgetting, as your hearts will be one.
Okay, so who's going to be the first person to realize that this multi-class is very well with Oath of Conquest Paladin?
I'm sorry, I'm having a moment over here.
I'm just envisioning Barney into my party right now. Give me
Oh,
love and joy.
Eldritch Blast.
No, it's literally just sunshine that's coming out of your head. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like I'm kind of on the Care Bears train. I think that was Jake that made that joke before.
That was me, actually.
Or Paul, I'm sorry.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I'm sorry, I miscredited that.
Frosted tips, miscredits everywhere. You're just a psychopath.
Sociopath.
It's true.
Both.
He can tell reality from fantasy. He just can't tell right from wrong.
True.
Yeah,
You're right.
So, with the spells you get from this pact, you at first level you have Bonds of Friendship and Power of Sharing, very Care Bear like. At 6th level, Always There. Knock knock. Anybody?
Who's there?
Me. I'm always there.
All right. I
At
don't know what to say to that one.
At 10th level, Endless Perseverance. And 14th, Till the End, which makes it sound like you're marrying them.
You are. You're marrying everyone you meet.
Let's lead off from
never
the
mind. Never mind. Those were the features, not the spells. My mistake.
Yeah. As to say,
I
sound
am
like
partially
spells out of,
illiterate. Yeah. So, then your spell list at 1st level, Animal Friendship, Heroism. 2nd level, Enhance Ability, Warding Bond. 3rd level, Beacon of Hope, Protection from Energy. 4th, Death Ward, Locate Creature. And 5th, Circle of Power and Skill Empowerment.
To be honest, those spells are kind of mediocre. I mean, they're very flavorful, but those are not.
Yeah, this is definitely not gonna.
spells.
Yeah, this is not gonna win. You know, like you are not. If you play this, you are not gonna be the MVP of your party for sheer, badassery. But
being Barney's worth
You
it.
don't want to be the MVP. You want to be the helper.
everybody's gonna love you forever.
I want to play a chaotic evil version of these now.
Oh, jeez. I was gonna get to that, but Nacho, go ahead and keep reading.
Okay, so your 1st level feature, Bonds of Friendship. Starting at 1st level, you can choose to make an empathic bond with a willing, friendly creature. If the creature agrees to becoming friends, you both have advantage on charisma persuasion checks with each other. You or any creature you have made this kind of bond with can break their bond as an action. Okay, that'd be really mean to break your friendship over the course of 6 seconds.
I'm not friends with you
You
anymore.
can declare somebody your best friend.
You can declare as many people as you want your best friend.
Exactly. But you can...
Also, that's it. I do have something to say about this one to be the forever negative Nancy.
Yes, please.
You can't actually generally use social skills on party mates, so this is actually kind of useless in your own party with people who you'd actually consider your ride or die friends.
But couldn't you amass an army?
You could, as long as every single person there agrees to be your friend.
Well, you could say, "Hey, will you be my friend? Hey, give me more money for selling this off to you. Give me a bigger."
Well,
discount
keep in mind
at your
they can
store."
break it as an action, so
Yeah.
if they think they're cheating you. That is to say, if you ever fail your persuasion test.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, this is kind of
But-
weird in practice.
Yeah, it
But
is.
yeah, for the second part of it, you also draw strength from your friends around you. Whenever you would miss an attack roll, fail an ability check, or fail a saving throw, you can gain a bonus to the roll equal to the number of friendly creatures you could see within 30 feet of you, up to your charisma modifier.
That's quite strong.
That is very muscly.
Yeah, once you use that feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest.
Yeah,
It's
that
less
sounds about
muscly,
right.
but still pretty good because Warlocks replenish everything that matters in a short rest.
Yeah. So, yeah, that is
something.
That second bit is actually really remarkable. That is very powerful.
Numerical bonuses are pretty rare in 5th edition.
Yeah,
so,
no, they are. And so, well, also, too, the fact is, like, most games that I end up playing in, there usually ends up being 4 or 5 people, and a battle map is pretty small, especially if you're in a dungeon.
Well, yeah, but keep in mind you can only get up to your charisma modifier. and
Yeah,
bonus.
so 4 or 5, the number of people in a party.
Yeah. You know, and 3, like, an extra +3 to a saving
still
throw.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, just, that is good.
You scroll down to the next page, I'm afraid.
whoops.
So there's more to read.
But wait, there's more.
But wait.
But wait, there's more.
Power of sharing. So at first level, you're able to
Sharing's
give your
good.
attunement of a magical item to a friendly creature you've made the empathic bonds as an action. Likewise, other creatures you have an empathic bond with can give you their attunement to a magical item as an action.
Danger will
Hold
love
on,
its
hold on.
Danger.
I gotta finish this. You or any friendly creature you have an empathic bond with. You know what? I'm just gonna say friends with instead of empathic bond because it's a little bit easier for me to say.
Quicker, too.
Granting the let's see, you can end your attunement with a magical item as an action, granting the other person attunement to it as the part of the same action. And each person can draw, stow, throw, or catch the item within 30 feet as needed. An item can't be shared more than once per long rest, unless it's shared back to the original owner. When you reach 6th level, you can loan your pact boon to a friendly creature you've become friends with as a bonus action, and that creature can do everything with the boon as you could as if you were using it.
This seems very dangerous.
A little bit.
I mean, this seems like it's circumventing a bit the restriction on attuned items and specifically on your pact boon. Like the ability to grant any caster Pact to the Tome as a bonus action is pretty good.
A little bit, yeah.
Even granting Pact to the Sword to a fighter is not that great because they don't have the invocations.
Now, I am
See,
going to walk
I-
back what I said before. This is actually a patron, not a pact. I got it backwards. When I was trying to read it in the car, my phone kept messing up. And I only literally got half of it. I got like 2 abilities and a whole mess of Eldritch Invocation. So I thought this was a pact and not a patron.
Huh.
So
You're wrong, Jake.
I was wrong.
But yeah, no, with this, I would have a party of friend patron warlocks and either a fighter, druid, or a paladin and make Captain Planet as he gets all of the attunement slots.
All right, I'll take over from here for the next, the 6th level ability. Always there. At 6th level, you always have your friends back. At the start of your turn, you can choose one creature within 5 feet of you to protect until the start of your next turn. If either of you are attacked or are required to make a saving throw, either of you can use your reaction to temporarily add half of your charisma modifier, rounded up, to your AC or save.
That's pretty good, actually.
Only one of you can use this feature before the start of your next turn. Neither of you can be blinded, incapacitated, or restrained to gain this bonus.
It's pretty darn good.
Yeah. No, this
More
is
numerical bonuses.
Yeah, this is a whole lot of this is literally Spirit Bomb made into a class. If we're going to make another obscene, reference to something.
Well, I don't really have much to say about that one, other than the fact that I'm starting to get worried about all these flat numerical bonuses this pact is getting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but think of the spells. It balances to a point.
I don't know about that.
To a point.
Well, no. So far, this whole thing is just like I can't die because my friends are always here.
Yeah, Captain Planet.
Patrick, how you doing, bud? Good to see you on the show. So moving on, we got 10th level at Endless Perseverance. At 10th level, if you or a friendly creature within 30 feet of you is below half their hit point maximum, they gain temporary hit points equal to your charisma modifier, minimum of 1, at the start of your turn. A creature can only gain temporary hit points this way once per short or long rest, unless they have been reduced.
It's almost like
Next time I run a lightning god, I'm going to use that. You've been reduced.
Power over Zeus.
Yeah, you've been reduced. Sorry. Reduced to 0 hit points. If you are a friendly creature within 30 feet of you starts their turn with 0 hit points, they make a death saving throw with advantage. If a creature is stabilized this way, they regain consciousness in 1d4 rounds with 1 hit point. Once a creature is stabilized this way, it can't be stabilized due to this feature again until they complete a long rest. Only you gain the benefits of this feature if you are unconscious.
This is actually a very weak ability, honestly. Any ability that requires you to be dying already to make serious use of it is... I would rather have an ability that works when I'm not dying, thank you.
It's kind of a fail-safe.
Yeah, and more than that, this is a 10th level ability.
Yes.
Getting half of your charisma modifier rounded up in temporary hit points is at most 3 hit points.
No, it is. They gain temporary hit points equal to your charisma modifier.
Okay, so 5 hit points
Yes.
at 10th level
Yes.
is pretty weak.
If they go below half level, but this can ding for everybody who is within 30 feet of you.
And more than that, it only works once per person.
It only works once per person, but at the same time, that's still... I don't think it's as bad as you're making it out to be. And rather, the advantage on death saving throws, as long as you're near them, is actually pretty good.
I mean, it's okay, but I would have it as a 3rd level ability that'd be useful. But as a 10th level ability, it feels kind of weak.
It's...
You keep people from dying.
You keep people... The other thing, though...
5 temporary hit points is like half
it's
of
the
a
advantage
short
on
term
death
damage.
saves.
Yeah,
That's
I will
matters.
agree with you on the temporary hit point thing. I think it's a little bit weak, but I definitely think that the death saving throw advantage rolls are a good thing to have because, even though death saving throws are weighted towards the player succeeding, definitely
Only by 5%, of course. So
yes. There's still, I still think a distinct feature, especially the way this class is geared to, or this subclass is built. It makes a lot of sense for it to be. It's all about keeping its friends alive and like buddy, and and having advantage for somebody who's trying to come back from dying is always going to be a pretty helpful thing. It's not the best, but it ain't the worst either. And we got one last one.
hit me.
Till the end.
I'm already getting diabetes.
Jeez. Beginning at 14th level, your bond with your friends is so strong that when you share the burden, of each other's pain. When you or a bonded creature within 15 feet of you takes damage, you or any other bonded creature within this range can use their reaction to give that creature resistance to that single source of damage. When the target takes the reduced damage, the creature who used their reaction takes the same amount of damage. This damage can't be reduced in any other way.
Huh.
Oh, hey, we're about to lose our...
So,
We're about to lose the sorcerer, so here, barbarian, take this damage.
It says it can't be reduced, but can it be nullified with immunity?
It says nothing about immunity. but I have to presume that if
If it's immune, why would you even use this feature?
yeah,
Well, I mean, if the person taking half the damage is immune to that, say if you've got a fire elemental who's bonded to you, and you have them take half the damage of a fireball, do they take any damage at all? Because it's
No,
not
they wouldn't,
reduced, it
'cause
just
they're
doesn't
immune.
happen.
yeah, exactly.
I sense immunity stacking.
Mm-hmm.
Although, to be fair, getting immunity is pretty difficult to begin with.
Yeah, no, in this edition, it's pretty hard to do. Let's just run down some of these invocations really quick, and then we'll go through our thoughts and feelings. So, there's a lot of invocations added here.
I would not read all of them. We have limited time. So.
Yes. Best friends.
Forever.
Friends, patron, and it's Pact of the Blade thing. During short or long rest, you can take one person that you have an empathic bond with, call them your best friend. When you choose your best friend to roll for initiative, you can use you can choose either result. I think the way this is meant to be written is that both of you roll for initiative. You can use either initiative. You can take the best initiative.
Paul, you're my best friend. You can use my initiative and go first.
But you can both take your turn on that initiative. If you or your best friend roll a 1 on a d20 roll for an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, the other person gains advantage on their next d20 roll for a minute.
Huh. Although keep in mind it's the next one. So
The next one within the minute. Yeah, but still.
that's quite good, especially if you have a sort of warning or something similar that allows you to get advantage on initiative text.
Yes, it's a good old invocation there.
Yeah, I see no problem with that. It's good. It's not game breaking. I mean, it's very strong, but it's one
Yes.
person. So.
Scrapbook is
Scrapbook is an invocation, huh?
it is the cutest one that I've read here so far.
I mean, all I'm saying is it takes an invocation to get a scrapbook.
You can now draw or paint a likeness of a creature that you have made an empathic bond with into your Book of Shadows. The spells Legend, Lore, Scrying, and Sending appear in the book as rituals and don't count against the number of spells you know. With your Book of Shadows in hand, you can cast these spells as a ritual on any creature drawn or painted in your book this way. These spells only work if the drawing or painting is made with at least a drop of their blood.
So, congratulations, anybody that's played Final Fantasy 15. You now have Prompto in your party.
This is how you make a stalker.
Yeah, I was gonna say this sounded a bit darker than was probably intended.
Every breath you take.
It's more like I wear my sunglasses at night.
I'll be watching you. Let's see. We got just 2 more I want to cover. They're all actually like really interesting, but we do have to move on. We got a lot of other stuff we want to cover.
Well, some other stuff. I wouldn't say so far as to say a lot, but
Well, 3 other segments.
it's true. True. Got me there.
Let's see. Friendship bracelets. Yes. You can create 2 talismans instead of 1s. You can cast a spell through 1 talisman at a time. At a time. Now, this one leads into something we're going to review, because I can't English today, geez. We are going to review next week, which is the Pact of the Talisman, which is a interesting Warlock Pact feature that I also read about today, but I didn't want this. We've done a couple of Warlock heavy episodes because I'm
Well,
Warlock
is a
fanboy.
good class.
is, but I'm a Warlock fanboy. Last one we're going to cover today, because it's the right amount of creepy, but also heartwarming for this class. It's called Imaginary Friend.
That's worrying in D&D.
You can cast Unseen Servant at will without expending a spell slot. You can't have more than 1 servant at a time.
My
if you
friends
cast
are
the
my
spell
servants.
again, the previous servant leaves and is replaced by a new one.
But is it really a servant
Yes.
if it's your friend?
It does everything you tell it to exactly. Here, give me the pledge handbook. I'll
Okay,
pull up the exact text of Unseen Servant here so I can make my point here.
So if your friend's going to jump off a bridge, would you do it?
Yes.
Unseen Servant says yes.
Wow.
If all my friends are jumping off a bridge, they probably have a pretty good reason to do so. I mean, maybe the bridge is on fire or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
Or maybe we're just the best of friends.
People, let me tell
Friendship
you
is
about
lovely.
your best
Comments on that,
friend.
executive
Here he
producer.
goes with Candyman again.
Yeah, let's pass on that.
Executive producer Earl, do you have any comments on this class?
I'm kind of scared that like a 6-year-old who's going to play the game is going to be like, his name is Johnny. Who's Johnny? My imaginary friend.
For now. Oh, come on. Where is it?
Red rum. Red rum.
Okay, so your unseen servant is invisible, mindless, and shapeless, and performs all tasks at your command until the spell ends.
People, let me tell you about my best friend.
It's invisible. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's also mindless. Your best friend has no mind.
To sum up the other one, there is one that gets you a free Mordenkainen's Faithful Hound, which is a free Mordenkainen's Faithful Hound.
It's useful.
What you want. But moving on. Paul, do you have access to the Way of the Dragon monk? that
I
we're gonna
do,
cover?
yes.
While you are getting that up, though, really quick. So that class, except for a couple of bits, which are a little creepy.
A little bit.
I'm going to have nightmares.
You mean the
and I'm
entire
big
thing,
about
right?
that.
Some of it can be done wholesome, and then some of it can be made terrifying. Like, where does Barney get? Barney is wholesome, but at the same time, where does Barney get all the things that are in the Barney bag? All the crafts that they use
It's like
to make
Miss
stuff.
Frizzle.
He uses Kendall.
Where does Miss Frizzle come from? What is her eldritch goals?
It's only terrifying if you look between the lines. If you just live within the simulation, it's okay.
Okay, my better question is:
See, Barney
is,
uses the Kender to fill his bag.
is Miss Frizzle a great old one?
That is
Miss Frizzle's a
Very-
great old one patron.
that is a subject.
Okay, so you'll say
For
that,
another
but
week.
you think Bugs Bunny cannot be a trickster god.
Yeah, no, because Bugs Bunny is powerless, and Miss Frizzle. Have you seen what Miss Frizzle's capable of doing?
Yo, we're saving this
Listen,
for the truck.
yeah.
We're gonna
Okay.
fight in the truck.
No. Nacho is right, dude. Bugs Bunny has to be a trickster god.
Jake brought it up first.
No, we're
after
gonna
seeing it
we're gonna
somewhere.
fight about this in the truck. But really quick, before we move
The
on,
dragon, the way of the dragon.
before we do the Way of the Dragon, though, with Friendship Warlock, what is the most wholesome party we can make in D&D? What is a party that could conceivably skate its way through by just using the power of friendship and love
Halflings.
of hugs? First of all, yes, they all have to be
halflings.
halflings.
So
And-
first, obviously, we take the friendship warlock. That's obvious. Then we take the I believe it's the Paladin of Redemption.
Yes, Paladin, Oath of Redemption Paladin, is literally just written as the nicest dude to have ever niced in the history of niceness.
And then you have a life cleric.
Yeah, and let's put a swashbuckler rogue in for flavor.
Or
For the dashing.
The Han Solo to the rest, to the 3 Luke Skywalkers we've got lined up.
Well, you can also
And-
throw a druid in there to make sure that you're all being nice to nature as
No,
well.
there is a
and make it Captain Planet.
No, what is the druid? Circle of the Shepherd.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it was
there you
Shepherd.
go.
That is also just again literally based on being the nicest druid on the planet.
Yeah, there you go. You got 5 people.
So, the wholesome party is Friendship Warlock, Oath of Redemption Paladin. All of these are halflings.
Life cleric.
Life Cleric, Swashbuckler Rogue, and a Circle of the Shepherd Druid. Next week, we're going to make their antithesis.
The douchebag party.
No, they're not the. They're not the.
Let's throw Nacho in there.
No, they're not. They're not the douchebag party. They're actually
The
Globo.
Frosted Tips
No,
party?
they're Globo Gym
To the
Purple
average
Cobras.
shows.
Cobras.
All right, moving on. Way of the Dragon Monk. Saw this one again. This is another one I actually didn't proofread. I just saw the name and I was like, all right, you get a chance.
Well, I should tell you this one's pretty short, so I can sum it up pretty quickly.
Yeah, hit me with it.
So the Dragonfire Adept at 3rd level gets there as their starting ability. They get the ability to make a loud and obvious display of their power to reduce their key costs by 1, I believe, to a minimum of 0. You can't reduce it to negative key somehow.
But putting
That's
at
it. It
0
does,
is
I believe, immobilize you, which is a pretty incapacitates you.
Yeah,
which
it
is
puts you at incapacitated.
free crits. That's
Yeah,
not
now
a
let's
thing you
let-
want to do as a monk.
Paul, go ahead and read the whole thing just so we can get a.
I'll read it very quickly. At the start of your turn, you may grant yourself the incapacitated condition and reduce your speed to 0 until the start of your next turn while creating an extremely loud visible display within 20 feet of you as matter and energy swirl around you. If you do, on your next turn, you may reduce the key expenditure of any ability except for those gained by Empty Body or Dragon's Fury by 1 key point. You can reduce this ability. You can use this ability for consecutive turns to cumulatively reduce the cost of any ability requiring key. Though if there's a maximum limit on the amount of key points you can spend on that ability, that maximum remains in place.
Do I hear Goku powering up?
I believe that's what you do.
Yeah, that is exactly what it is. Which,
additionally, you get a somewhat poorly written ability, Dragon Key Blast, which allows you to fire a 100-foot long, 5-foot wide line of force damage in a direction of your choice.
You can sit still, make a loud display, and charge up, then shoot a beam. Yeah, this is Goku. I haven't read it yet, but
it's one of those things
Goku
like
I'm trying to be nice, but this ability, the way this ability is written, makes it very unclear what exactly you're supposed to do.
So what I think the author's intent here was, because I did read this one in the car, and I actually got to read the whole damn thing, unlike the Friendship Patron. So I believe the idea with the power-up phase is this feels like it's... Has anybody here played the old Tenchikai Budokai games?
I have not.
Did you play Xenoverse with Andrew and us when we got all of it?
I did not.
Okay. Because a big hang-on for the Dragon Ball Z video games was always the powering up,
First 6 episodes?
No, not the show, the games. You'd sit there, you'd power up for 5 seconds, but you needed to pick your window when you could power up. I actually like the idea. I think the way the mechanic's written is a little sloppy, but overall, the idea behind it is solid. By taking a turn and putting yourself at
serious disadvantage,
you are going to lower the cost of your key costs for the next however many turns, which is honestly, that's actually a pretty good high risk, high reward kind of payoff.
It does make exploring a lot easier when you can Breath of the Wind for free.
Yeah.
Although you have to be extremely loud, so it's not exactly stealthy.
Yeah, it ain't stealthy, but it is. It's interesting. I like the idea because there's, sure, it's not like just a clean, sexy, this is overpowered as fuck. This is a,
Yeah.
clever usage of this could be very effective.
Again, the problem with the Dragon Key Blast is that it doesn't tell you, how many dice you're supposed to roll. Sure.
If you read the example.
I did read the example. It's still not very clear, I got to tell you.
Well, it says you can go up to your
yes, but here's the
damage die. So if it's a D6, you can...
All right, let's read it one more time. Let
me read it out loud
Let's
so I can
work
tell
through
you.
this math problem together, kids.
As an action, you can spend at least 2 key points to unleash a blast of force in a line 100 feet long and 5 feet wide in the direction you choose.
Okay.
Each creature in the line must make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
A creature takes half of your martial arts dice in force damage, with each die equal to your martial arts dice, or half as much damage as a successful one.
Okay.
You may spend additional key points in this ability up to 1/2 your die in martial arts damage, and for each key point, add an additional die of the same type to your damage dealt. For example, at 5th level, your martial arts damage dice is a d6. This means by spending 2 key points, you deal a base of 3d6. I don't know how they got 3d6.
So I think the idea is
6 divided by 2 is 3.
No, I think the whole idea is, well, it could be one of two ways. I think they're making it needlessly complicated because I think the best way to do this would just be you cast a beam. You're spending 2 key points, so you should automatically get whatever your martial arts.
Yeah, see, but 1d6, which is what they've written it as, is a pathetic amount of damage for 2 key points to deal.
No, it should be a per key point spent.
Yeah, so you do 2 for the initial cast, which will be half of the die number on your martial arts dice. So if it's
Except
a
that would be
D6,
3 in this case, but
so if it's a D6,
No, I think it's
then
implying that
6
there's also a base damage. It is.
this is not a very well written ability.
it says with 2 key points, which is the base for your key blast, you deal half, and it says in their example by spending 2 key points, so the base of it is 3d6. And then each key point after that, you add another one of your martial arts die.
See, that
to
part's
the
clear,
maximum of it where it's
way-
66.
but the way it calculates how much damage you're dealing is very poorly written, and the example does not make much sense.
It's written weirdly, but
All right, we're going to move on to the next ability, but really quick. For me...
For you.
So for me, overall, even though this ability needs a rewrite, so it's clearer.
Makes any sense?
Yeah. Because what I think they're going for is
Ghost Wheel. Sorry, Ghost Wheel, but that ability needs a serious rewrite.
yes.
I think the ability as it's supposed to function is fine. It just needs to be a lot clearer about how you're
And
getting
what
to
it's doing,
places.
yes. Overall, though, I think the idea is really cool, especially for a monk, because if you're a kid who grew up with Dragon Ball Z, then you've always kind of wanted to do that.
If you can survive staying incapacitated for 5 rounds, you can cast 66 in a laser beam
For free.
Yeah,
but by that point, the fight is
I
already
mean,
over.
everybody else is doing more damage, but at the same time, though, it's still that, guys, I'm charging my laser.
You got that crowd control.
It's also only
You got a
100
laser
feet, so people can just walk out of your
I feel
range
like
by the
this.
time you
I feel
finish
like this
charging.
subclass is really sweet at 20, but just getting to 20 is going to be the hard part.
So let's talk about their next ability, which is Shikuchi, or Rapid Movement. Sorry. At 6th level, you gain the ability to virtually teleport, and they say virtually, but it actually does involve teleportation. By channeling your ki into your feet. Let's think about that one for a moment. All right, we're done. As an action, you can spend 2 ki points to make up to 4 melee attacks, each targeting creature you can see within 30 feet. Deal damage as normal and successful hits, then teleport to an unoccupied space you can see within 5 feet of one of the targets you attacked. That's interesting.
I see Naruto jumping around.
That ability is strictly better than Flurry of Blows.
This is, it is. This is the most anime
Admittedly, it costs 2 ki points to
monk,
get to 1. But
monk, which normally is the most anime subclass, and what you add to, or class, and that you add to any other regular class as a multi-class to make it into an anime character. Paladin feeling too strict? Add some monk. He's an anime character now. This is the most anime of anime.
I do not like this ability. I'm sorry, but this particular ability is straight out classes Flurry of Blows because you're not required to make your martial arts strikes. And heck, it's still an action, so you still get to make your bonus action and take your martial arts hits.
Yeah, you're Naruto.
Yeah.
You start off as Goku, then you go into Naruto. Are we going to see
This
Monkey
is
D.
a
Luffy
lot
in
of
there?
attacks, and you can also make it with a weapon rather than your fist.
If the level 20 ability is just you punch something once and it dies, I'm out of here.
Isn't
The
that
show's
already
over.
Quivering Palm?
No.
I would use it. I just hope I don't run like Naruto.
Regardless, the second part of the ability is
It's
whenever
been
you
proven to be
successfully
faster
attack
by
a
science.
creature, you can spend 1 ki point as a bonus action to force the target to make a strength saving throw. If it fails, you push it in a direction of your choice, and you can keep doing that with each of your attacks that turn.
And you can keep doing it for free if you charge up.
Well, yeah, it only costs 1 point the first time, though.
The first time.
So you can shove them back again and again and again and again.
That part ain't bad. That's
fine.
Yeah, that makes sense for a monk. Yeah, the only thing I really have umbrage with. Now, granted, you are spending up 2 key points to make 4 attacks, where Fury of Blows is
1 ki point for 2 attacks.
2 attacks. So
But it also gives you teleportation.
it also
And
gives
you
you
can also do
teleportation.
it with non-monk weapon.
It's
attacks.
really strong, but it does blow through your. I don't know. It's a weird bit of a
Well,
debate.
see, here's the thing. It doesn't require you to make monk weapons. So if you have proficiency in a greatsword, you can make 4 greatsword attacks with that.
But you have to be a monk, so you'd be a Kensai monk.
Or you just take 1 level of paladin. You start in
Well,
paladin.
no, you
go
actually
into-
couldn't do Kensai stuff because you'd have to be this monk. So
Take 1 level in paladin and you just go straight into monk and just make 4 attacks with a greatsword every round. Make that warrior really sad until 20th level.
it's no, he gets his shit at 16th, 17th.
You get this at 6th. 6th level. That's 10 levels
But
earlier.
it's 2 key points. It's 2 key points. Okay, there is room for abuse, but like the idea ain't bad.
Okay, dragon aspect. You can spend 2 ki points to fly equal to twice your walking speed for 1 round and spend 1 ki point to maintain it each other round. Or you can spend a ki point to cause multiple ki blasts to fly from you. You make 4 ranged wisdom-based
spell
attacks with a range of 100 feet. On a successful hit, the target takes a die of force damage equal to the martial arts dice. So for 1 key, you can Flurry of Blows better than Flurry of Blows because it's a 100-foot ranged attack.
But it looks sweet, though.
Your Vegeta, when he's angry
At
and
11th
flying up, just
level,
throwing key
Flurry
blasts.
of Blows is obsolete.
Okay.
I'm sorry, there's
All right,
too much Dragon
we
Ball
gotta-
in here.
Yeah, okay, so lastly, there's Dragon's Fury, which is, as a bonus action, you can spend 4 key points to cast Haste on yourself. This is bad.
Kaioken?
You can't even reduce the cost, so it's got to be 4 key. Like, specifically, it says it doesn't work on Dragon's Fury. Or Dragon's Rage, whatever it's called. The
Let's
problem
see.
is that Haste is a 3rd level spell, and you are 17th level.
Nacho, tell
Also,
me.
it's a concentration spell, and you're a melee fighter.
True. Nacho, just tell us how many key points a monk gets at 20th level.
At 17th level is when you get this ability.
Yeah, I just want to see, like, I'm trying to think of overall usage. Because that,
How many
At
key points?
20th level, you have 20 key points.
okay, so 4 for a self-cast of haste is still pretty bad.
I mean, yeah, the thing is
that's
that
that's a fifth of your utility.
Way of the 4 elements gets a lot of shit already for basically requiring obscene amounts of key points to cast bad spells.
Yeah.
Haste is a good spell, don't get me wrong, but it's also a concentration spell. So if you get hit, every time you get hit, you have a chance to lose it.
Right. Now, that being said, everything else that
It's
this...
also 17th level. If you got this at 6th level, it'd be good.
Don't forget, as a basic monk ability, you are able to turn yourself invisible at that point for a minute.
Yeah, but every time you turn invisible, you break it when you attack.
Anyways, so let's... Thoughts and feelings on this. I think that a swap of... I'm glad you said that, Paul, actually, because that's one of the things I was going to suggest, would be a swap of the 17th level ability with the 6th level ability. Because then suddenly we have a monk who is supposed to be definitely not Goku, but is totally Goku, that can keep up with the sheer amount of attacks that a fighter can do and actually do a little bit more.
Yeah.
You
Because
know,
you get to still make your bonus action flurry of blows.
yeah, so you get like 6 attacks, which is
That's a lot of attacks. Admittedly, they're only with your monk dice, but at 17th level, they're like, what, 2d6 or something stupid like that?
no, they're it might be even higher than that. It's
Just going to double check real quick because
I've never had to deal with a super high level
still
monk.
1d10. That's kind of sad, actually.
Yeah, that's
That's okay. Don't get me wrong. It's just I was hoping for higher damage.
yeah, it ain't bad, but
60-10's a lot of damage.
yeah, should have hit 1d12, but meh.
Whatever.
Or you
So
can do
goes.
10d10 on your Kamehameha.
Which actually though, I will give it that.
Just got to charge for 10 turns to cast it.
No, 7 turns.
Guys,
2 for the initial
hold
blast,
them-
and then 5 turns for
Look
the
at
rest of your
Nacho's
dice.
over here like Kakarot.
no, you.
Oh, no, I would hardcore do this.
I know you would. I know you would.
Ghost Wheel, I'm sorry for tearing apart your. As Jake said, I think this is definitely a good idea. I think the abilities need some rearranging and rebalancing. As Jake suggested, I recommend that you swap the fast movement and Dragon's Rage abilities, and you make the Dragon's Rage cost 2 key.
I think I definitely see the haste being a much more useful ability to have at 6th level.
Because then you're getting it only slightly slower than a wizard does, and you get key faster than a wizard
Yeah.
gets it back.
Yeah, and as long as you, because I mean, if I am going to praise this class, I do love its risk and reward playstyle and allowing you to have a way to kind of game the key point system.
Yeah, but it's definitely useful.
It's interesting, and I could definitely see like a lot of theory crafters, if something like this were to be made into a full-time thing, having a lot of fun with this and like a lot of fun builds coming out of it. And also just because, damn it, 8-year-old Jake loved Dragon Ball Z and has never looked back.
Don't you currently love Dragon Ball Z?
Yes, I do, but when you love something as a child, it's much harder to let go as an
Yeah.
adult.
That's true.
He's
Good
still
point.
watching it on his mom's couch.
Yeah.
You damn right.
Saturday morning.
Yeah, that's Saturday night, actually. Though Adult Swim has changed it, so now they're doing Dragon Ball Super early on.
You know he has it on tape.
All I'm saying is I have it on DVD and on my computer. All I'm saying is, as a biased individual, as from everything that you've heard, the idea of seeing one of my players sit back for 7 rounds and then hitting a Kamehameha that does 10d10 and it kills the big bad villain literally makes me warm in a place inside my body that I didn't know I could be warm in.
Yeah, and
Your
then you
cold,
can
dead
also
heart.
use that if
Yeah.
you're doing a large scale conflict. Like, sweet, I'm just gonna blast away 100 feet worth of enemy soldiers.
Well, unfortunately, it's only 5 feet wide, so it's probably more like 20 soldiers.
So,
So
final grades on let's do the final grades on both Friends and the Way of the Dragon, and we'll call it a day here.
All right, so the Friends patron is interesting. As usual, I think it probably needs some more, little tiny bit more mechanical work. I would rate the flavor about an 8, the mechanics a 6, and the playability, let's give it another 6.
Okay, so that is a 20 from Paul, which means it's a good homebrew.
Well, from a balance perspective. no.
Yeah, it still reaches
20 out of 30 ain't bad.
20 out of 30 ain't bad. That is a playable, useful homebrew. Way of the Dragon, how do you feel, Paul?
I'll give the flavor a 7. It's very Dragon Ball Z-esque, and the Shikuchi is a good touch.
Yeah.
I think the mechanics need heavy work because half the abilities are I would never touch these, and half of them are I think I could break the game in half with these. So I'm going to give it a 4.
Okay.
It needs some heavy rearranging of when it gets the abilities to be effective.
All right.
As for the playability, I'm also going to give it a 4, unfortunately. It needs serious work, and this would be hell to play until about 17th level.
Agreed.
When you can turn invisible to charge up your lasers.
Yeah.
Well, you'd still be a display, but it's kind of neat.
Yeah, but you can't see where they are.
All right.
Regardless.
Nacho, how do you feel about Friends? Out of 10, how do you feel about the flavor?
Flavor, I'd give it a 10, just because I love the idea of running around as a bunch of Care Bears.
Care Bear staring people with your Eldritch Blast into oblivion.
Yeah, your Eldritch Blast will be coming out of the heart shape on your chest.
All right. So that's a 10 on flavor for Nacho.
10 on flavor.
Mechanics.
Mechanics, yeah, I think I'll bump it up to a 7 because you are able to pass out or receive additional attunement slots. So I could see that being really helpful for really boosting up your heavy damage dealer.
All right. And your playability.
Playability, it'd be more RP heavy, slightly less combat, so I'll give it a 6.
All right. So a solid 23. And how do you feel about Way of the Dragon?
Way of the Dragon. Yeah, like I've said this a lot, but I love it. I could play Goku and Naruto at the same time.
All right. So, Nacho,
So whether or not that was intended
flavor.
in their flavor, that'll also get a 10. Whether or not that was their intended for it, because I didn't read their flavor text, but just with the abilities.
Yeah, no, it definitely has a strong inspiration from someplace. So, 10 for flavor. Mechanics, how do you feel?
Mechanics, I'll give it a 6 just because it's really dangerous to actually do your stuff.
Do your charge. To do the charge up is remarkably dangerous. Anybody who attacks you in melee gets a free crit.
It pays off, but it's really dangerous.
And even then, it doesn't do a supreme
That
amount of
much,
damage.
Yeah.
So,
Actually, let's make that a 5.
all right, a 5. So we're sitting at pretty at a 15. Playability.
Playability, really, it depends on how careful you are as a player. So I think it's a little bit more advanced if you want to do it the most powerful way. So I'll give that about a 5. Yeah, like 4.5, 5.
Let's go with 5.
We don't do halves. We don't do
Let's
halves
round
here.
up to 5.
All right, so where you came out strong with the flavor, it came down to a 20. Paul, can I get your overall numbers again on the Way of the Dragon?
Mechanics 4.
Okay.
Flavor 8.
Okay.
Playability 4.
Okay, so a 16. We're going to try to get an average here. Me personally,
I believe somebody's going to correct me by going back in the tapes. But
friendship. Power of friendship, I love it. I give it a 8. It is not the best thing I've ever heard, but there is a way to do it right, there is a way to do it wrong, and there is a way to do it that is serial killer as fuck. And I'm kind of okay with that. I'm okay with 2 of those options because it can be really creepy, or it can be like
really heartwarming.
Just so pure that it makes you puke. But after you puke, you're just okay with it. So it gets an 8 for me on that first bit. As far as mechanically it goes, I think it is really built on helping the team. It is the team. Life Cleric comes to mind as being this guy's best friend. Like, with a Life Cleric and a Friendship Warlock behind you, what can your party of a Barbarian Rogue and a Wizard not accomplish? Not
Dying.
a damn thing.
They can't accomplish dying.
Sure, dying is going to be very difficult.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty hard.
Run away from that light, Silver.
But that being said, they are incredibly dependent on their party's makeup. So for that, I am going to give them a 6 for mechanics. You are remarkably party dependent. And for playability, it's also going to get a 6 for me. So that is going to be a 20 for me on the Friendship Warlock, which is, it's good. I like it. I like it a lot. It could use a little bit, like, you cannot play a solo campaign with a Friendship Warlock, or you could, and it would be literally the cutest story that we've ever seen. But
Barney.
Will you be my friend?
His group
Will
of
you
slaves.
be my friend too?
yeah, roll the dice.
I have all the commoners.
So that brings us to Way of the Dragon. Personally, for me, flavor is also going to get an 8. I love the idea of monks tapping into extra dimensional kind of stuff. It's something they kind of did it a little bit with Radiant Soul.
But not enough, is what you're saying?
I'd like to see more of it. Like, they focus more on like abstract martial arts stuff, which makes sense.
It's a monk after all.
I'm not mad about it, but I would love to see, like, the only 2 kind of things like this. They got Radiant Soul and they got Way of the 4 Elements. I'd like to see another attempt at this, and this homebrew, hits me in a place that I feel like I'd like to see more of. Mechanically, honestly, I'm actually going to be a little bit rougher on it than you, Paul. I'm going to give it a 3.
All right, that's fair.
Just for the way the homebrew is written, it's poorly written, needs some editing, but the ideas there are good.
That's why I didn't rate it in lowers, because it's got good ideas,
Mechanics,
but it needs
not
an
grammar.
editor.
And
It really needs an editor. I'm sorry, Ghost.
no, it does. It does need an editor. It's well, here's the thing though. Like, it's hard to tell what the mechanic exactly wants when we don't know.
We had a 10-minute discussion about how Dragon Blast actually works.
Yeah, and we have a decent idea of how it works, but we're still sitting here just kind of like.
I thought reading the example made sense, but I
but I
honestly
just
couldn't think of how to word it.
there.
Yeah, no, it just needs a little bit of reworking.
It might just be needlessly complicated.
And last but not least, for playability, I'm actually going to give it a 7.
Really?
Because I think one thing, because thinking about the future of 5th edition, we've got all the training wheel stuff out here, right?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of us have now been playing this edition for about 3 or 4 years, even 5 years. If
We're ready you're part of the next playtest, yeah.
Yeah.
We're ready for the heavier stuff. is what
Yeah,
you're saying.
we're ready to start doing some weird mechanics in this system. And honestly, I really like the charge mechanic. To me, it's flashy AF. And I mean, if you know me, like, you ever see me walk into the club, it's obnoxious. Okay, but second of all, like, it is a really cool ability in the way that it puts you at a disadvantage, but it gives you a great ability, and it's a great, way to
circumvent a class restriction.
Yeah, it's a great mechanic, and I honestly like it. And it's one of those things where if we were to sit down with it, or I were to sit down and play a campaign with it, I could find ways to not necessarily break it, but make it very effective. Just requires a little bit of sitting down and time. So for me, overall, my final score on it is 8, 3, and 7.
So 18.
18. So that puts us final scores at overall we are going to settle the Friendship Warlock at a 21.
Respectable. In my opinion.
Which means 21. Definitely take a look at it. Please consider it, play it. It's a good time. It's not perfect, but it
with a couple tightenings of certain bolts and loosening of others, you could make it work.
Use all the Mordenkainen's halflings.
Yeah. And Way of the Dragon. Overall, with my 18, there's a 16, and we got a 20.
I thought it was middle of the road on mechanics and playability, but I just really loved the flavor that may or may not have been intentional.
Yeah, that's going to bring us to about a mean grade of about 17.
I was going to say 18, but
17, 18. Right in there.
That would be 18.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. Let's get a move on here.
You got a calculator here. Okay. It's playable. It is usable. It is
not recommended,
fun.
But
it is not recommended unless you're willing to, dive under the hood yourself. But
if you found out how to make 3.5 work for you, I'm sure you could figure this out.
you could make it work for yourself. But B, also, this is fantastic NPC fodder. Where I wouldn't necessarily let one of you three play it at my table. I would definitely use it against you.
It's just
you
horrible.
couldn't pay me to play this one. I'm sorry, but
Did it say how long your charge up lasts?
playing monks. So.
There's a thing on it. But we got to wrap up here, guys.
We do, yes.
We're running over on time. Next week, we will get over to importing monsters. Turns out we were able to fill the hour a lot better than we thought we were going to be able to. Dan, good to hear from you. Patrick, thanks for commenting in today. We record out of the Podcast Studio Detroit. Excuse me. We record out of the Podcast Detroit studios here in Royal Oak. There are a couple other studios here in the southeastern Michigan area. If you have ever wanted to start your own podcast, please check out PodcastDetroit.com. It's as easy as going there and talking to people. We actually had a great conversation with people who just did their first show today, and they were super amped before we came in and recorded this. Part of the reason we were a little late, having too much fun talking to new guys here at the studio. So, you ever want to record your own show, check out PodcastDetroit.com. As far as that, I think that's pretty much everything we got for this week, guys. So, I'm Jake.
I'm Nacho.
I'm Paul.
I'm Earl.
Well, look at you, just inviting yourself into our ending. And we've been 3DMs. Had a lot of fun, guys. We got some great shows coming up, actually. We promise. This is just the down one for the week. We'll see you soon. Roll well. We love you. Bye-bye. Now, if only I can end the damn show. The mouse ain't working. I need the mouse to work.
Use the touchpad.
Yeah, no, I just found out the charge up wasn't that good, considering it's your next key attack. So I was hoping it would last for the
The
combat.
video's ended now? We're off air?
Technically.